My name is Robert Bonavito, New Jersey forensic accountant. This video is part of a series of videos where I discuss forensic accounting topics for educational purposes only. If this was a litigated matter, I would take a different approach, have different conclusions based on different facts.
Hi everyone, welcome to part 6 of our discussion on alimony matrimonial issues, mainly in New Jersey. Today we're just going to cover a topic about case law, and the reason this is important even is because when a legislator writes rules and laws for alimony purposes or divorce purposes, they can't think of every circumstance that's going to come up, and that's why we have case law that kind of gives us insight on how to handle certain circumstances. And of course, case law is very important in the United States. It's, I guess, hundreds or thousands of years old. And judges and attorneys love to refer to case law. They reference it a lot. And a lot of what we do as forensic accountants is based on discussions with the attorney and our point of view. And we kind of mingle that together, and we have something that should be acceptable to the courts. And of course, there's all kinds of standards we as the forensic accountants have to have when we go to court. And, the thing with case law is that attorneys love to apply it to every single case, even though all the facts and circumstances may not agree. And as a forensic accountant who's been doing this for 30 years, a lot of what I hear in court and how these cases are interpreted to the matter at hand, they don't really mesh. But, unfortunately, there's not enough time or resources to investigate every single issue. But it's important to understand the case law, and I'm going to just go over 3 cases that everybody likes to talk about. The first case is Cruz versus Cruz. Now, this is a case that happened in 2000, and the reason this is important is because it discusses the importance of establishing the standard of living. And what's important about the standard of living is, okay, some people may need, $3,000 or $4,000 a month to live, but some people require $200,000 or $300,000 to live. And this is what in one of the series we talked about the case information statement. This helps establish what the lifestyle was during the marriage. And it's very important that this be done properly, because you get really one chance to establish the standard of living. Once the case is over, that's the standard of living. So this case you can get on the internet. I suggest you read it. It covers a lot of stuff in detail, and it really, the burden, if you get divorced and there's a standard of living set and you want to go back and have a change of circumstances, for example, to increase your alimony and child support, you're the one who has to meet the burden. You have to prove that, okay, I need more money because of this. But if your standard of living is established at $10,000 and you want to go back for $15,000, that's not going to happen. So it's very important you understand what the standard of living is. You understand the CIS statement, and take a look at this case. You may want to read it and talk it over with your attorney. The next one is Lepis versus Lepis. Now, this was a case back in 1980. This is an old one. And what it does, it talks about post-judgment modification of support obligation. We get tons of calls. Okay, I have a change of circumstances. I want to modify my alimony. I want to increase the alimony. I want to decrease my alimony. I want to increase child. I want to decrease. In this case, what this case does, it says that, again, you're the one. If you want to increase it, you have to prove a change of circumstances. Okay, you can't just say, well, I need more money because I want to buy a new car. No, you got to go in and say that I have X amount of alimony and it's not enough. And remember, it's capped at the standard living. It's very difficult to get more than the standard living. You can't go back and say, well, my spouse just hit the lottery for $10 million. Obviously, I should get more money. No, it doesn't work. But this case does allow you to go in and seek a modification, but then you have to prove that it's reasonable and actually win in court. The next case is Malmo versus Malmo. And this really has to do with pendente light. And we have a session, one of the divorce in this, it's like 4 or 5. We talk about pendente light, okay? And what this is basically pendente light is given at the onset of a divorce, or, And what it does is it keeps the non-moneyed spouse in the house and keeps the children fed and that kind of stuff. And what this case says is that, you know, the pendente light should be the same as it was before the marriage. So if you had a standard of living of $20,000 a month before the marriage, well, then maybe you should have, you know, $20,000 now, less whatever money the spouse doesn't need, you know, that you spent on the spouse. So this kind of establishes, it says that, you know, you should keep the status quo. But of course, what happens, especially in New Jersey, a high cost of living state, is now you have two households and neither one can support themselves. But, you know, if there is enough money, this case basically says, no, we need to keep the standard of living the same for the non-money spouse and the children and et cetera. You stay in the house, you get the same, whatever you get a new car every month. Well, then you continue to get a new car if it's feasible. A lot of times it isn't. So these three cases, what I would suggest is, if you're an attorney, obviously you know these cases. If you're a forensic accountant or you want to learn more about this, these cases are online. You can go and get them, read them, understand them. And, you know, sometimes you got to read them a couple times. A lot of times we'll go, you know, if we have a big case, we'll go through them again because a lot of this stuff does come up. And a lot of what we do as forensic accountants is based on this. So if you guys have any questions, you know, just leave it below on my YouTube channel. And one of my analysts or I will get back to you. We answer every single questions. Appreciate your time. Thank you.